Welcome, you guys, to season 12, episode 1. We are kicking off a new season called the Script Series. We are switching the narratives our generation has back to where they should be. Yes, we are taking it personal and keeping it real this season. Ladies, this episode is specifically for you. This conversation will most definitely be a good one. So, enough of me talking. I'm ready, and I know my co hosts are ready too. So, now, ladies, please introduce yourselves.
Hi, I'm Deandrea, but I'm better known as D. I go to Fort Valley State University and I'm majoring in early childhood education.
Hi, everyone. My name is Mia. I am a worship leader and I just love the Lord.
Yes, yes, yes. Thank you, ladies, for coming on the show. I'm so happy and grateful that you guys are here. All right. So thank y'all. So now are y'all ready to get in these topics though?
Let's do it.
You know?
All right. So we women are known to be strong and independent. However, some men feel that being too independent is the reason why most of us stay single. But we all know that the dating pool is mixed up with a lot more foolishness than they had back then. So, ladies, with that shade being thrown, with that being said, why do you think women are choosing to be single? Anybody can go first.
Hmm. I'm not sure if, I guess they are choosing to be single because of past experiences, things that have happened to them in past relationships that have just failed. And also, I believe that it could stem from some childhood trauma. A lot of people, women specifically, that either don't have a father in their lives, don't have a father figure, or just don't have a good relationship with their father, tend to find themselves in relationships that just don't really work out. They're searching for love in all the wrong places. And that just brings us to why some people just choose to be single. That narrative of, I want to be an independent woman, I want to do everything by myself. It works for some people, and then again, it doesn't work for everybody. I think that a lot of people, a lot of women, um, don't want to submit to a man and their authority, but in the Bible, that's what it says we must do, is to submit to our husbands once we are married, of course, but we are to submit to his authority. And I think that pretty much kind of sums up the whole um, why women choose to be single.
Okay. My take on it is like Mia said before, personal experiences. I guess as women we know what we want. And as a woman, like I know what I want. And if I don't see it or I don't feel like they're fulfilling it, I'd rather do it myself. So as a child, I was taught that I can do everything a man can do except reproduce kids. So that's one of the mentalities that women, including myself, kind of carry.
Oh wow. Okay. I love y'all both of y'all perspectives, honestly. And I would say that I have to agree. I say most definitely that for me, I know the reason why I'm choosing to be single is because in some seasons I just felt like I kind of needed to get back to me. I think that's the most important thing because a lot of times we go relationship to relationship and don't even focus on getting back to them. So I say that to say that sometimes I choose to be single to get back to me because how if I don't know who I am and I don't love myself, why am I getting into relationships? Like some people do it, but why would I make something that possibly could be the man God sent for me if I want to stay unhealthy and be toxic due to my personal issues? So I would say it's for one that in certain seasons it was that for me. And also too, just not settling, protecting my peace. I'm in that whole, 20s era where now like I've been through a lot to be so young, and I feel as if, like my mom and me always discuss, like the grace and mercies they had, we kind of don't have them anymore, but we need more of it. So I say that to say just the settling part for less, like just the accepting less, because at the end of the day, if I'm protecting my peace, I love being peaceful. Like I love I like, I like men's or whatever have you want to say. Like, man can be who they gonna be, because when you get a strong black man, man, that is really some amazing stuff. You know what I'm saying? To have that partner that really stands in who he is. But I most definitely say just the settling and just the going back to the norms that we have now when it comes to dating in our generation. I feel like sometimes I always have been out of place. I've always been different. Like I never lined up with what other people do. And not saying that I'm better with people, but God just made me different to where even if I tried something, I just wasn't plumb really able to do it. So really just the settling for less, and like Deandra was saying, like I know what I'm looking for. Like I know what I bring to the table, as guys of the saying these days. Like I know how to mix the stuff on the table. So I'm not gonna get a man that can't even build the table, if that makes sense. Like you're going to need to build the foundation for me to even mix on the table. Otherwise, that table is going to collapse, especially if it's not built the correct way. And I also think, too, finding a man of God is so, so, so crucial for me and difficult in this day and age, to where it's just like that right there halts a lot of what some people would call good candidates for me, because I'm
Mm.
just like, I'm over a ministry. Like I can't just move in every type of way. And I used to be so strategic and so serious about it, but I feel like even now it's more for me to not be such a hypocrite, and also to just do what God told me to do at the end of the day. So I think that, can I be submissive, Mia? Absolutely, but I need to be submissive to a man that won't lead me off a cliff. I need to be submissive to a man, like you said, that's my husband, because a lot of times we want to be submissive to boyfriends. Like it's nice and all, but are you, like, have you shown me that your word is true? Have you shown me that when you say you're going to do something, have you done it? Even those things, with even being a boyfriend, I'm able to kind of lean towards that and be with that. But it's a lot of men out here that say they want submissive women and they don't like us independent women. No, we just know what we want. We just don't tolerate the bare minimum. So I most definitely think I can be submissive. I want to be submissive with somebody who has the potential to be my husband as well as my husband. But I feel like just where I'm at now, I'm no longer settling. So a lot of that is literally just why I'm choosing to be single as of now. Now, if somebody comes along and God has sent them or whatever have you, then okay, that's different. Then I have to yield. But until then, I'm choosing to protect my peace. I'm
That's
choosing
so
to protect my
good.
peace.
Yeah, that's really good. About the part, definitely the settling part. I know in the past I have definitely settled with in my relationships, and that's because I didn't know who I was, which is why it's so important that we have our time in the wilderness. Um, Taking it back to Genesis, when Adam was in the garden, he said it's not good for man to be alone. So God created Eve, and Eve was brought to Adam. If you look it up in the scriptures, that Eve was brought to Adam. So I
Mhm.
believe that Eve in the Bible had time with God, where God had taken her and molded her into who he needed her to be
Mhm.
in order to support Adam in his life. So I think that we all as women have to come to a place where it's just a moment, a time, and a place where you're connecting with God, where you're developing your relationship with Him so that you
Mhm.
know who you are, so that you're prepared
Mhm.
to be the wife that you are called to be.
True, true, true. Do you want to add anything?
I think she said it all for me. Um, she I was
Oh,
like Genesis, and she had already said that that's where it started at, and I was going to say that God took Eve and molded her into the way that He wanted her to be. But she said it, so okay.
all right, ladies. So next thing we were asked is, somebody said, I've tried to walk away from this guy multiple times, but every time he reaches out, it's like I go back to him. How do I leave him alone for good? Ugh.
Whew.
D, you wanna take this one, sis?
I'll go
Go ahead,
first.
D.
Okay, I'll first start off by saying that I am saved and I'm not, meaning I'm saved enough to know, okay, I'm wrong.
Okay.
There's a reason for everything, but I'm not scared to say, yeah, that happened. Yeah, I was vulnerable. Yeah, you know, it took a
Right.
moment with God. Like, I really had to get there. So my particular moment was a guy that I was talking to maybe about a year or two ago, and it was off and on, and he even came like for family holidays and stuff, and he was like, my family loved him. They were like, yeah, this is the man, he's a really good man for you. Okay, cool. Things start going wrong. I'm seeing red flags and I'm ignoring them. That's the first thing. Don't ignore the doggone red flags. They're red flags for a reason. But I was ignoring red flags and I'm like, okay, maybe I can help him. Maybe I can do this. I can do that. I can show him different. No. So when I finally got tired of it and I cut him off or whatever, like the person asked, how do I stop going back? Because I kept going back. Like, okay, maybe he didn't mean it. Maybe, something changed. Okay, I left him alone for a month. Okay, maybe, no. Mm-mm. And it's sad to say that sometimes it takes you getting sick of them. Like, is a strong word. It just takes you being tired of feeling the way you feel for you just to leave them alone. And what I noticed was like, guys, like, okay, I'm gonna show you. I took you out of that situation for a reason, but for some reason, you just want to keep being disobedient. So I'm gonna do it. Boom. So this was like within maybe about a month ago. He had hit me back up, and I'm just like, okay, God, you're testing me. It's like, are you gonna be dumb and do it again, or are you gonna? Okay, I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna let this thing play out, see what it goes. And he said this one thing that ticked me off. And from that moment, I was like, okay, God, all right, shame on D, shame. It's crazy. So how do you not go back? You pray, you ask God, okay, is this the right thing? If it's not the right thing, please, not say please, but show me the way. Let me walk in the steps that you want me to walk in. And I promise you, at the end of that prayer, at the end of you're gonna see. You're gonna see. Yeah.
Like full
Mm,
force,
yeah.
everything, literally.
Yeah, definitely. I believe that there, when you're in a relationship with someone, there's a soul tie, whether that's emotionally, whether that's physically. And
True.
reasons why you keep going back to them is because that soul tie is still there, and that has to be broken in order for you to continue to move forward with your life, or else you're going to keep going through cycles. You're going to keep repeating that same thing of going back when God is definitely calling you forward and trying to push you into the next step of your life, but you keep allowing the enemy to remind you of, like Dee was saying, the enemy is just so cunning. He'll have you just thinking, okay, you see all the red flags and you're like, okay, it's not that bad. Back to settling. Don't settle, ladies. Do not settle. When you see those red flags, note
Right.
them and run. Get out of
Mhm.
get out of the
Period.
situation,
Like full
because it's
fledged.
God. The red signs, I believe, are God. It is God trying to show you what is wrong with this individual. Ladies, we are
Mhm.
not to be construction workers. I was just having this conversation. We are not
Ooh.
there to fix a man. That is not what we were called. That's not why. That is not what we're supposed to be
Come
doing.
on.
Are
Come on.
fixing men. We are supposed to help them, but fixing them
Jolie.
is not necessarily our job. So it's so important, one, that you break that soul tie. And again, what Dee was saying, pray and ask God. That prayer, I don't know. I think everybody knows this prayer. God, if there's anybody in my life that's not for me,
Move that.
please
Move
remove them.
that.
The prayer does work. Whether it's a friend, whether
Like,
it's a
yeah, please
boyfriend, whether
remove
it's
it.
a family member, the prayer does work. He hears exactly what you're saying, and he will help you. He will move on your behalf. He will remove that person out of your life. So pray, fast, read your word, cut the soul tie.
Listen, y'all done said a whole mouthful. I would say make sure to believe them when they show you the type of person they are the first time. I spent about, because Kelly don't get me the line, as old folks say. Don't get me the line. But I spent a good year and a half going back and forth with this one dude. And no, he wasn't. I know we probably going to say this. I'm probably going to say this 20 times this season because I've already said it in all the other episodes. But I will say some people can be good people. You just not my person. And
Thank
I did not understand that concept for the longest until my piece stuff like kept just being just disrupted. And how I would know is because sometimes even soul ties can also be emotional. They can't just be physical. Laying with this person, like all these different things, talking to this person, giving this person access to your thoughts. That can create soul ties too. And I think a lot of people don't understand that. They just think, okay, well, you have sex with a guy. Yeah, that part, that's the easiest part to get a soul tie to you. Don't get me wrong. But a lot of times when you're giving these people your thoughts and giving them access to your mind. Your mind is connected to your heart at the end of the day. So at the end of the day, if that's what's in your heart and you giving that person access to your mind, that will then get in your heart. So then you get to moments where you wonder why you have an attitude. You never had an attitude before, but all
Mm.
of a sudden you have an attitude now. And especially when you start back talking to that person. Like I literally had to start to evaluate myself and watch myself. Watch how I act. Like one time I literally had to ask my mom, I'm like, Mama, do you feel like I'm changing? Like, why do I feel this way? And my mama just told me, she was like, listen, Kaitie. She was like, you grown. Y'all know how parents be. You grown. I can't tell you what to do, but I will say this. And my mama just told me, she was just like, you have to understand who you're trying to put in a space that should have never got past the talking stage. She was like, that's why your spirit sometimes is so unsteady. And sometimes it's not even so tired. Sometimes it's because your spirit is really unsteady. Like he wasn't going to church. Like all these different things that should have already, like D say, been a red flag from the start. You don't know, like you don't have a relationship, like all these different things. And for me to have just been giving him so much access for a whole year and a half, so you
Mm.
can only just imagine how much mental access he had to me. And everybody that know me knows I'm an emotional person. So it's a lot. Like I express how I feel and I express it in depthly. So sometimes also too, I started to see too that he was able to use that against me. So then it got to the point where I was just like, you know what, Caitlin, step back. One day I was praying, I was like, step back. What are you doing? Like
Mm.
I literally had to look myself in the mirror and say, what are you doing? Is it like all the like line up everything that has happened between you and this guy? What are you doing? Is this something that you even need to walk back into? Because you've been fine. You had grad, so you've been fine. So is this something that you want to step back into or what we doing? So then I had to say, you know what, God, I know you will allow that person to walk away from me. That's how I feel what needs to happen at this point. Because I'm not gonna walk away from him. I'm being vulnerable. So I'm talking to God, I'm just being vulnerable. I'm like, you know what? If you don't let him walk away from me, I'm not gonna walk away on my own. I don't have enough strength in this moment
Mm.
when it comes to him to walk away. So I would say that to say both prayers for me. I prayed the first one, and I feel like God was just sending me more signs because then it starts to get more aggressive with what signs He sends you. I didn't want to listen to that. So then I had to just pray, God. I'm just like, God, let this person walk away from me. And let me get so fed up to where if I got to lose my mind, let me do that and bring me back. And guess what? Not even, I want to say, not even 24 hours later, something had happened and it was with one of my close friends. And I was just like, you know what? That's it. That's it for me. Because then also, too, I snapped back into reality to say, what are the things that I said I would never allow? You have literally let them just go through the list like it's
Mhm.
peanut butter and jelly time, and it ain't. It should never be. So I say that to say that you have to make up in your mind that this person is not your person. This person could be a good person for somebody else, but they're just not your person. And when you start to walk around having that attitude and walk around with the attitude that I'm gonna protect my peace at all costs, baby, a lot of people that used to phase you, those type of even guys that you used to be attracted to, now you're gonna wash your hands with them because it's not even a tasteful taste in my mouth anymore when it comes to those type of men. Um, and two, I know my self worth. Like, know your self worth to know and love on yourself while you're in that space of singleness. That goes back to that one. Like, just love on yourself and pray over yourself, but also love on yourself. Take your own self out. Like, some people be so attached with guys taking them on dates. I love dates too, boo. But take yourself out to let to just have that time with yourself so that time you get in self-care, you're not thinking about nobody else. You're thinking about what does Kaitie need, or what does D need, what does Mia need. Like, that's where your focus has to be. So you have to make up in your mind that enough is enough. This is something that I cannot walk away from. Let them walk away from me. And I will say that to say, have I did it ever again since now? No. It honestly, your girl has been good. So, and that's been about 3.5 years ago. So
Wow.
I say that to say that you can do it. It's not something that's impossible. It's not something that I will say will be easy. Because baby, when they find, it's very much easy to come back. And other traits, it's very much easy to walk backwards. I'm not even about to sit up here and lie to you like that. No, because I'm not perfect and I don't want to claim to be. But I will say you just get in the habit of doing it and you'll be okay, sis. Like I said, you have to make up in your mind. We can tell you all this stuff, but you have to make up in your mind this is something that is not for you anymore. And that's all
Yes.
I really have to say about that, you know?
There was so much that you just touched on, and I'm just trying to figure out where I want to like piggyback
Julie
off
knows.
of. But it was so good. It was so good. But you saying that it may not be the right person. Let's say it is the right person, and it's just not the right time. We
Mm,
always, women, we have a tendency, we move fast, we move quicker than men do, and we speed up the process. And it's God's process. We can't speed
mhm,
up God's process and expect things to go the way that we want them to go. It's up to God. It's His will, His way, and His timing. So we have to make sure that we are in right standing and in the right season of our lives with
mhm,
Him, and making sure that that we are where we are supposed to be, and being able to move forward in that. And also, take yourself out. Oh my goodness. I call God is my dad. I love him so much. Like, that is my dad. That is my man. I love him so much. He is everything. And I take myself out all the time during this singleness season. And it's not that I'm necessarily choosing to be single, but God has me in this place where He is telling me that that's where I need to be. And I'm completely
mm,
fine with that. And during this time, I'm very intentional on preparing myself to be a wife. I'm preparing myself
mm,
by taking myself out, doing things that I've never done before, trying out new things. But please, I would encourage you to know who you are. Ask God, literally. Take some time out to yourself, and just take yourself out and spend time by yourself to get to know who you are. Get to know the things that you like, the things you don't like, so that when you go into a relationship, you're not, like, causing any havoc, or there's no problems, but you're already
mhm,
letting them know these are certain things. And ask God to help you with the things that you are not okay in, the areas that you're not okay in. Ask God to help you in those areas so that you will be okay. But as Kaitie was saying, it's not going to be easy. Let's just put that out there. It's not going to be easy at all, because the enemy wants you to stay in that place of frustration, that
indeed.
place of delay and stagnation. But you have to move forward. And it's going to take a lot. It's a fight, y'all. it is an absolute fight, which is so important that you stay in your word, that you stay praying, that you
Yes.
fast, because the enemy will try to do anything to take you back to a place where God brought you out of. And that's where we have to make sure that we are strong in our faith so that we can move forward and
Mhm.
walk into whatever God has for us, all that God has for us, because there's so much in store for you. So,
So
to the
much.
person that asked that question, I just encourage you to seek the Lord and ask Him for help. Um, ask for, Kaitie, you had mentioned your mom. Um, some people have a good relationship with their mom, some people don't. But ask the Lord to send you a woman, someone older, someone with much more
I'm trying
wisdom
to tell you,
who
they
can
got the
help you,
wisdom.
the wisdom that can help you
Mm.
in that area of your life so that you can be great and flourish and
Mhm.
be the woman, the young woman that God has called you to be. I'm done.
Amen for
Okay, I'm
that. Do
gonna say
you want to add anything?
I got one more thing, one more thing. Okay, just taking bits and pieces of what we all said. Kaitie can tell you, I had a guy that I recently broke up with. Like, I told Kaitie, I was like, I want to marry this man. We do this together. We pray. We do this. We do. But outside of me praying with him, I was praying for myself, and I'm like, okay, God,
Mm.
we like you said, we as women we move fast. I'm like, okay, God, okay. I feel myself falling. Show me the way. If this is not the way,
Ooh.
show me because I know I'm gonna fall deeper and deeper, and I don't want to be so deep that I just can't climb out.
Mm,
Ooh.
And
Mm.
I literally heard God say after we had them broke up. I literally heard God say, I removed him because you wouldn't leave him.
Woo.
Y'all, after that,
Mm.
after that, I had them blocked his numbers. All the things that had connections to him, I just dropped it because I just felt like it was just I just caught chills all over my body. I'm like, okay,
Ooh.
all right, that's enough. That's enough for that right there. So when you know, women we know.
We
So
know.
when you know, just cut it. It's over with. But yeah, I was just like when you were talking about not having soul ties, it's not just with sex, it's mentally, emotionally, and everything else. And I think that's one thing that's often misinterpreted. We don't understand,
Mhm.
that's all we know. But
Yeah.
I just felt myself like, okay, I was just feeling too good too quick. And it wasn't
mm.
even about it's yeah. We just gonna leave it at that. We just gonna leave it at that. We serve an amazing God. God is wonderful. All right.
I got one
All
more thing.
right.
I got one more thing and then I'm
Ooh.
done. Um, this may be, people think that like it's the smallest things that keep you connected to someone. And I know this because I've experienced it. Delete every single picture you have of them in your phone.
Yes.
Ooh.
Cut off all access to them that you know possible. And ask the Lord to remind you of some things. Ooh,
Yeah.
okay. The Lord is allowing me to speak on this. So I was in a
Yeah.
past relationship and I had this person's clothes.
Ooh.
And I had their clothes and we broke up. Everything was pretty much done. At least I thought. But because I was
Mm.
still holding on to their stuff, there was still a connection there and it had to be broken. And I had to come to a place in God and in myself where I was like, okay, I have to get rid of this stuff. I can't hold
Mhm.
on to this any longer because that's me holding on to that person. And I've let this
Mm.
in my mind, I'm like, I'll let this person go, but I still feel some sort of connection. And I'm like, why am I still feeling all of these emotions? And it's because I still had stuff that was tied to that person. And I
Yeah.
encourage you, if you have anything of that person, to let it go, burn it, do whatever. I don't know what it is, but let it go.
Mhm.
And I promise
Yes.
you, there's so much freedom. There is so much freedom that comes in letting things go that are not meant for you. The
Mm.
freedom that I received, I was literally for so long, for a couple of months, battling in my mind, trying to figure out why I wasn't free. I would kept singing all of these songs, who the sun sets free is free indeed,
Okay.
these
Mhm.
scriptures, all of these things,
That
but I
part.
wasn't actually feeling it. And I'm like,
Mm.
why? And I had to ask the Lord, I said, Lord, is there anything, what else, what is holding me back? Why don't I feel free? And He told me, the clothes. And y'all, as
Mm.
soon as I gave those clothes back and I got rid of them, the freedom that I felt, it was something
Come on.
amazing. It was crazy. And the enemy was so mad at that freedom that he caused me to get in an accident the next day.
That's how it
See?
works. That's how it happens.
And I was
Yeah.
just like, and I was crying. I was so upset that I had gotten into this car accident because I knew that it was the enemy.
Mm-hmm.
I
Yep.
knew that it was him because he didn't want me to be free.
Mm-hmm.
But long story short, if you have anything that is connected to that person, let it go, throw it away, burn it, whatever
Throw
you
in
have
the
to do.
trash.
I've said my
Literally.
piece.
Okay, I told a lie. I got one more thing. One more thing. One more thing.
Girl, it's getting good. Y'all go ahead.
It makes you remember things. Okay, so the relationship I was in before the recent guy that I broke up with, I held on to these pictures because I was like, oh, I'm gonna make a memory book. Like, this is how this is gonna be. Yeah, I remember him. Okay, I'm good for giving things back after a breakup, a friendship, a breakup, whatever. I always give it back. But for some reason, I still had these pictures of us. And I was like, okay, boom, cool, okay. But I forgot that I had them actually. Like I said, I was making a memory book. So I was looking through the book a few weeks ago and I saw them. I'm like, oh, okay. Well, I already burnt the recent guy's stuff, burnt his pictures. So when I burnt,
Mhm.
y'all, I, and I'm not trying to make it seem like I'm saying what you're saying, but like, I just felt, you asked mom, that's my way of feeling free. I just sat there and I looked at the pictures. I was like, all right, next thing,
Yeah.
dinner. Like, it's done. It's over with. And I have the recent person that I had broke. I still have his stuff. Like, it's in a package though. I gotta send it back. Like, mail it back to him. That's why it's still there.
Oh,
But it's like sitting in the garage because I don't want it nowhere near me. Like, I'm like,
you're
please,
right.
until I'm able to send this back to you. But I promise you, once I send it back, y'all, I might go get a donut to celebrate
Please
after.
Okay.
do. Please do. And you enjoy your donut. Enjoy your
Okay.
donut. Get two of them.
I think I deserve it.
Yes.
Right. And if you drink milk, drink a little milk. Don't drink it with nothing else.
I'm doing water, guys. It's
Okay, drink your water, guys. That too.
I have been trying to lose weight since I've been with him. Since him, I have lost 15 pounds.
Come
Let's
on,
put it
come
up.
through.
There's freedom in your
Girl,
obedience.
come
There is
on
freedom
now.
in your
And then
obedience.
that,
If the
yeah,
Lord
yeah,
told you to do something, if he told you to let go of something
do it.
and you
Mm-hmm.
don't listen, there are
Yeah,
consequences.
you reap the consequences.
There are
Yeah,
consequences.
Oh,
Be
that.
obedient. Be
BLB,
obedient.
please.
I'm
Be
telling you, he
obedient.
gonna get you. Ooh, ooh,
Snatch you
ooh.
up.
Yes.
Man, and
Snatch
don't
you
let
up.
him get you at our age. Cause see, when I was a kid, it was all fun and games. But now I'm just like,
Sad.
God, that right there was a little wild. So yeah, most definitely like you said, be obedient. Cause baby, at our age, it ain't funny no more. For real, for real. Oh man. All right. So that pretty much just ties into the next one. I think we pretty much covered this one. Because I feel like this one and the last one kind of go hand in hand. It says I'm trying to get closer to God, but I feel like I keep entertaining or getting sidetracked due to distractions. Any advice? Um, I would say I don't know why is this coming to me like that. Get rid of your friends.
Mhm,
I don't know why, but that's literally the first thing that popped in my head for
mhm.
this person. And I
Yes.
could be wrong, but I know God wouldn't give it to me if He wasn't meant for me to say it like that. Surround yourself with godly people. People who are going to tell you to do the right thing even when you feel like the wrong thing is what you need.
Mhm.
Because these people are going to be able to tell you what you need versus what you want. And they're going to be able to tell you with a firm tone. Not tell you and contradict themselves, but tell you with a firm tone, which they're telling you this is what you need to be doing. Dang, that is, ooh, get rid of your
That's it.
friends. Like that's literally
That's
it.
it.
Because whoever this person is, just your connection to them is what's causing you to feel okay with the distractions. It's not just a distraction. It's a spiritual type of thing. It's something that you have to get away from. You have to get away from these people because due to the fact that they have no common sense, you have now gained the decent. You have desensitized yourself to common sense. So all the things that you never should have been in that friend group because you always were meant to stick out. Now you feel like you're sticking out like a sore thumb because you're trying to do the right thing. And this goes back to that it's not going to be easy, but it's not impossible. I am telling you, I have seen it happen over and over again. It's not an impossible thing, but it becomes impossible when you stop fighting, when you stop working on it, when you
Mm.
stop not knowing what triggers you. And also too, that's another thing. Know your triggers for these distractions, these people, these guys. Ooh, these guys, he just be downloading into me. This is all right. So yes, make sure that you know your triggers because right now, um, sometimes a lot of times we feel like certain things may not be triggers, but they are. Like even say, I say this is so petty, but basically, if you and this person play this iMessage game and you keep just trying to find somebody to play and nobody else want to play with you. And you know this person is always available. This person always has access to play this game with you. It's just like that. Like maybe just turn off the game. Like maybe not play the game, you know? It's that type of thing. So most definitely I'm feeling like for me, from my point, it was to be remove yourself from those people because those people are connected to you being desensitized to the right thing to do. And it's still in you, don't get me wrong, it's still in you, but in order for it to be opened again, you're gonna have to disconnect, and it's not gonna feel good. It's gonna hurt. It's gonna hurt a little bit. It might hurt a lot of bit because I know if you sensitive like me, it's gonna hurt a lot of bit. But sometimes we have to separate ourselves from people that are not in that season anymore that we're trying to go to. Because the season that I'm trying to go to, it doesn't include you. And I had to be okay with that. And another thing, I'm gonna let y'all talk. Another thing, be okay with the fact that you walked away from these people because at the end of the day, if you don't come to grips with that part, you're gonna keep going back. You're gonna keep reminiscing. What are you reminiscing on? You were not where you wanted to be, and you steady reminiscing on a place that you never should have been. So let's worry about going where we're going versus where we came from because baby, the sights and wonders of what you're going to do in this new season for you is going to be anything that you guys not going to mind anything that you could ever have imagined because you're no longer reminiscing. That stuff does not excite you anymore. Oh, that just
Amen.
got so good
But
to me
That was
because
good.
that spoke to me because I was just
it
looking
spoke to me.
like I had to be okay with that, y'all. When I'm telling you, I literally struggled with the fact that when I first started being the young adult ministry leader, a lot of people fell off from me. And when I want to use the word fell off from me because they seen what I was doing. Like I could tell on social media, certain things that they used to like, they didn't like it anymore. So I always said, well, why would they do that to me? Like they know, they understand third. And then I thought, but I was like, what? It's a pleasure. It's a pleasure to know me. Like it's a pleasure to be in my space. So why am I getting agitated with people that just may can't go where I'm going? And that's not saying that you're better than anybody, you're bolder than anybody, but my path is my path. Your path is your path. And if our paths interconnect in a way to where they're permanent, then you know those people are God sent. And God sent people are very people that you have to learn how to hang on to. And no, these friends that be replaced, they'll be replaced with better people. Some whoever God sends you is gonna fill that place. So most definitely, most definitely, most definitely. I don't know who this is for, but be okay. Be okay, be okay, be okay. And you're going to be good, but be okay with your decision. This is what comes with being getting older. We love to say we grown, but when it's time to put our big girl panties on, we struggle with it so badly and end up in situations we never should have been in. So be okay. Put your foot down. It is okay to put your foot down whether a person disagrees with it or not. This person is not going where you're going. So be okay with putting your foot down and be okay with the decisions that you have to make. Be okay with separating yourself from people because at the end of the day, they're not meant to go in this season with you. These distractions are not meant for you anymore. So make sure that if you're trying to get close to God, spend time with Him. I don't know why this question always gets asked and it just not said. Spend time with Him. It's a continuous thing. Like you have to spend time with Him. It's like something. It's like practicing how to play basketball. You have to keep shooting to get whatever jump shot is your shot because LeBron's stance might not be your stance. Steph Curry's stance might not be your stance.
Mm.
So, in order for you to have the right stance and know your stance with your sword, with your breastplate, all of that different thing, all this stuff that we learned as kids, put it on and find out what your stance is to fight. Because at the end of the day, your stance is not going to be somebody else's stance. Spend that time. Make it your business, whether that's 5 minutes, whether that's 10 minutes. Shoot, I just got to spend a good 20 to 25 minutes with God every day and on a consecutive, consistent basis because honestly, y'all, it was hard for me because praying, I kept wanting to check my phone. And then I just had to learn like a lot of people know about me. Like when I'm driving, I'm away from my phone. Because sometimes if I'm listening to gospel music, I want to be zoned out. And two, I just hate being on the phone while I'm driving. Like everybody that knows me knows that. So I say that to say I'm a lot more away from my phone now than I've ever been because I'm so focused and serious about when I wake up, I'm not touching my phone. I had to get disciplined. Have I had these days where I have failed? Absolutely. Have I had these days where I went to, that's just like, have you ever had these days going to sleep without brushing your teeth? Yes, I have. Some days I was tired. I did not do it. And so I say that to say you have to get discipline. You have to pray about the discipline. You have to make sure that you're being intentional with how much time you're spending with Him and know that it's your walk with Him. I could tell you all this stuff all day, every day. These are just tools, but some tools may not work for you. So maybe while you're getting your coffee, that's your time with God. Until you drink the last sip of your coffee, like I know one of my homegirls, that's her thing till she drinks the last sip of her coffee, that then her time is up. So if it take her 30 minutes to whatever, she literally gonna spend that 30 minutes. And I just told her, I said, man, you so more disciplined than me. Because when I'm drinking my coffee, like I'm thinking about my day, but for her, that's her time. So I'm like, okay, so that worked for you. It didn't work for me, but I'm glad it's working for you. I'm glad it's working for you because my greedy butt is not thing. Like I just go ahead and get out of the way because I know for a fact once my day starts, I'm in the zone of work. I can easily forget. Um, and that's a me thing. Like I said, it has gotten better. So know that it's a process. You're
Mm-hmm.
not going to be perfect at it, even if you go a couple of days being consistent. Distractions, life be lifing. Life be lifing. Life be lifing. For real, for real. So I say that to say you have to really practice that and be disciplined. And like I said, be okay. I know who you are. Be okay with this new season. Be okay with walking away. And that's all I have to say about that. I know I said a mouthful. I apologize, y'all. I know I said I was gonna be short, but yeah.
No, you're fine. That's good. What I'm saying is tying into everything you said. When I first heard you ask the question, I heard friends. And that whoever this person is needs to ask God to send them friends to help push them in this next season of their life. Whether you are a man or a woman, I believe that God is calling a lot of the kingdom people to come forth in this season, that
Yes.
He's requiring elevation of a lot of people. And in my broadcast channel, I think you might have saw this, Kaitie, but there was a quote that said that elevation always will and always has required separation.
Mhm.
Know that some can't go. It's
Oof.
very important that you know that everyone cannot go with you in this next season of your life. That God is calling you higher, and because He's calling you higher, as you go higher in altitude on a plane, people are going to start falling off. When you're good, the higher you go, people are going to fall off, and it's not going to be easy. It's going to feel very lonely, very, very
Mhm.
lonely. I remember I was talking to, I had this group of friends, and these are my best friends, people that I talk to every single day. And I would go to them asking them for advice on things, if they could help me. And the Lord was calling me higher in this particular season of my life. He's always calling us higher, but He was calling me higher. And I had to come to myself and realize that I had to let these people go in order for me to go where God is calling me to be. And the realization was that those friends didn't understand the calling on my life. They didn't understand the gifts that God had given me. So they weren't going to understand why I was letting them go. And I had to be okay with that. I had to be okay with with them not knowing why I was really distancing myself and not really talking to them as much. And it hurt. I can't sit here and lie and say it didn't hurt. It
Mhm.
hurt. But what I also say is that God also kind of prepared me for that moment. There were little things that would happen between us, and I would have to distance myself because of those
Mhm.
things. So God was already preparing my heart, preparing my mind to have this conversation. So when the conversation did come up, it didn't feel as bad as I thought it would. But of course, as
Mhm.
time went on, again, these are people I would talk to every single day. And now I'm not talking to them as much anymore. And I'm starting to feel lonely. And then, see, this is where the enemy will try to come in and flood your mind with thoughts of, um,
Mhm.
I'm lonely, I'm depressed. This is where depression and anxiety come in, and all of these thoughts that are not like God. And that's where you have to spend that time, back to what you said, Kaitie,
Mhm.
where you have to spend that time with God. You have to spend
Mhm.
time with your Father so that you can be filled with the things that only He would have for you to be filled with: love, peace, joy, happiness.
Ooh,
There's so
all
many
of it.
things that He wants to fill you with in your season of being by yourself. And it's okay to be in a season of isolation. That is where God does so
Mhm.
much for you.
So,
There is so much that happens in the season of isolation. I am a witness. I thought I was going to be so lonely. There were days where I would sit in my room and I would just cry out to God, and I'm like,
mhm.
God, I feel so lonely. What is happening?
Yep.
And He's just like, it's okay, daughter. It's okay. Be
Right.
patient.
It's
I'm
okay.
molding you. I'm pruning you. I'm preparing
Mhm.
you for what is getting ready to come, because what's getting ready to come is going to be great. It's going to be amazing. And if you're not prepared, then you're not going to be able to handle it.
Mhm.
He wants to prepare you. So, to the person that asked this question, spend time with God, spend time with your Father. He wants to download, He wants to
Exactly.
pour into you the tools, the weapons that you need to fight in this season of your life. Because again, it's a
Yep.
fight. It's a fight, and you have to
Mhm.
fight. Put your war clothes on in this season and fight against all of those distractions that are coming your way. And people aren't even necessarily a distraction. Social media can be a distraction. For such a long
Mhm.
time, social media was a distraction for me, and it weighed so much in on my mental health and who I thought I was as a person. I
Mhm.
struggled with comparison. I would see people on social media, and again, I'm a
Wow.
singer, so I would look at them and I'm like, oh, I can't sing as good as them, or oh, I don't look as good as her.
Mm.
And it would weigh down on me so much. So even if that means taking a break from social media, last year I went on, I believe, about a 11-month um consecration from social media, and it was the best time of my life. The best time of my
Wow.
life, not being on social media. So if you have to turn it off, maybe if it's just for a couple of hours or a couple of days or just a couple of weeks, whatever it is that is distracting you from receiving what it is that you need from God, cut it off. Again, there is freedom in your obedience. Do whatever it is that you need to do to be free. It's it's a fight. It's a war. It's life for how I look at things. A lot of the times now, it's life or death. Am I gonna fight to
Mm-hmm.
live, or am I gonna live in defeat and die?
Oh, I like
That's all I
that.
got.
D. Anything, so?
Um, I guess just to piggyback off of everything that the both of you have said, um, I have witnessed my moment of isolation, my season of isolation. As many know, class of 2020 didn't have graduation, didn't have prom, didn't have any of that.
Mm-hmm.
So when I went off to school, through high school, I've always been the sore thumb that stuck out. Like I never fit in a friend group. Never. I've never been a girl to fit in a friend group. So when I went off to school, I didn't have any friends. I would cry myself to sleep. I would come home just about every week and just be around my family. So with that being said, I eventually made friends, but I feel like you said, when you're by yourself, you have all these different thoughts, you're feeling lonely and stuff. My tip to this person is don't rush to make a friend. Stay
Ooh.
there. Stay where God has you for. You're there for a reason. And you can't, the first thing you see, you can't run after because it may not
Ooh.
be for you.
Mm.
So what I have learned is, and I've done this twice. I ran after a person thinking they were my friend and they weren't my friend, but I was so desperately in need of a friend that's what I did. So that was one semester. The following semester, okay, I made a group of friends. We fell out. I'm back to square one. No friends.
Ooh.
I'm upset. I'm crying. I'm like, dog, okay, God. All right, what am I gonna do? It's just me and you. What am I take advantage of that isolation? That isolation is happening for a reason.
Mhm.
God has a way to pull you back in. You can say, okay, God,
Okay.
I need you to help me do this, that, and the third. I'm going to stay close to you. You might get what you want, but as soon as you start veering off,
Okay.
He has His way of pulling you back in. Because God's like,
Listen.
well, you said you're going to do so and so and so and so, but you forgot
He holds you
who forgave
accountable.
Yes.
Ooh. That
y'all.
accountability with God,
Yeah.
girl.
And like my mama said, when you get to a certain age, mama's praise is not going to help you. You're responsible
Come
for you.
on.
You have to pray for you. But I know it was mama's prayers and grandma's prayers that got
Okay.
me through. That's getting me through. Whew, somebody.
Listen.
That's good.
Listen. You ain't saying nothing. Listen. That's what James Forrester say. Your prayers saved my life. Cause
And,
baby, especially when I was, and I wasn't even out there doing a bunch of wrong, but just
yeah,
acting like I didn't know who I was.
yes.
That part was some foolishness to me because it's just like you have all this stuff that's been found. Your foundation is built off of him. Your
Mhm.
parents made sure you had every tool you could possibly need, and here I go out in the world acting foolish like I don't know what tools to pull from. I
Yes.
felt like for me, I had to take
Mhm.
accountability. I'm like, what are you doing? What are you doing? You acting like a sick puppy. Like, get yourself together. Put your big girl's panties on, literally, because I'm a big girl. But but be content, please. You use some of your common sense. Because what is you doing? So
Yeah.
most definitely D, man, that right there just blessed me. Don't run too friends. Oh child,
I- Just to
y'all.
a little thing of I'm in this season where I'm like, okay, God. Like I said, I've had two isolation seasons.
Mhm,
I'm like, God, okay. Now that I see what's happening, now that you're putting people around me to, let me know what's really going on, just
mhm.
do it. And I've
All
had
right.
my mom, like, Mom, this person comes to me and I'm telling them, but God does this. This is the right thing, this is the wrong thing. And they don't want to hear that. They want to go to
They
the next
don't.
person where you hear, let's bust windows out of cars, let's flatten tires, let's do this.
That.
Yeah, you're feeling good. Yeah, it's a release, like, whew. But at the end of the day,
Yeah.
what did you get from that? What
What do you hear
did
from that?
what is it? Okay, Mom, okay. this person's acting funny towards me. My spirit is not, it's not selling with this person.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
what is it? And it's literally God knocking, saying, "Hello, you're not
Okay.
listening. I'm
Wake
giving
up.
you everything, but you're not seeing it."
Listen.
And after listening to y'all, all right, I'm going. I'm in another. I'm getting back into the isolation stage, and I feel myself
Mm.
elevating, and I know that no one can come with me. It's me and God. I
Okay.
That's it. It's just us. Mama can't come. The dog can't come. Uh,
Listen.
can't eat. I,
Shoot, my
it's just
favorite food can't come because baby, you
oh,
know I love me some cabbage, macaroni, and cheese. You hear me?
Mm.
it's
But that
just
can't come.
me and God. And
It's God.
yes, that's it.
Isn't it funny
Girl.
how our moms always know before we know?
Yes.
My mom, when it comes, especially when it comes to people, when it comes to friends, my mom's discernment is so strong, and I'm
Mhm.
always so appreciative of it.
Yes.
And you could be in the me and the whole the three girl friend group just doesn't work.
Mm.
It does. I've had my share. It
I,
doesn't work for
I
me.
Yes.
That's just for me. That's just for me. It may work for somebody out there, and
Yeah.
I applaud. I applaud all of you for that. But for me, it just doesn't work.
Right.
And my mom knew this. She knew this
Mhm.
every single time. So when things were starting to go downhill, she's just looking at me like, "Well, I already kind of warned you. I kind of
Right. They
told
just
you."
give you that look.
Just that look. But that's why. Oh, I love it because they can't, like you said, their prayers can only carry us, but so much. We
Mhm.
have to go through certain things on our own. So
Yep.
I've always just been so grateful to have my mother in my life, and that
Definitely.
she has the discernment that she does, and that she has a relationship with God to cover
Mhm.
me, but also knowing when to let me go
mm-hmm.
and
Yes.
let me
Oh.
do my own thing, and to let me experience things on my own, because that builds something up in us. It gives
Yeah.
us much more character. It builds so much, and we need that.
Mhm.
So shout out to the mamas.
Yeah.
Shout out to the
Man,
mamas.
and I just want to say to every mom that, like my pastor was saying, and I told my mama this on Mother's Day, and I was like, Mama, I know every Mother's Day I say X, Y, and Z. But the first thing that came out my mouth this Mother's Day was, Mama, thank you for giving me Jesus. Because some people can't say that. Thank you for giving me Jesus, and thank you for showing me how to spend time with him. Just thank you, because I know even sometimes I could get into prideful moments, and unintentionally sometimes when we got at college. Like I would be like, I'm embarrassed to talk to my mom about this mess. And then it seemed like the older that you get, the more your parents kind of unleash certain ranks to you. And you just like, Mama, I really thought you was gonna trip about that. And she was like, No, I be waiting on you to say stuff. She said, because you think I ain't been young before, like you think I don't know certain things. She was like, and two, I know my child. Like I know when something is bothering you. I know when you feel it some type of way. So I just had to let her know this Mother's Day before we move on that I thank you. And shout out to all the moms out there for giving your kids Jesus, because man, when I tell you we appreciate it, we're grateful for it. Even if we don't apply it all the time, we still know when to go to him. And I think that's the best thing I feel like for me I could have ever asked for from my mom. Besides all the other stuff, besides the money, everything else, that gets us through the physical too. Um, I had to tell my mama, just thank you for giving me Jesus, because when I needed him, when I couldn't go to anybody or felt too ashamed to go to X, Y, and Z, I could go to him, and he didn't have nothing judgmental to say. All I kept getting was answers and solutions. And I think that's just the best person to go to when you don't get judgment, but you do get conviction sometimes. And sometimes my butt just need to be convicted. Right on the seat, go ahead and put on the hot plate, go ahead and burn my booty up a little bit, just to get me to see what are you doing? Call me out. And I'm glad that, I may not always like how God sometimes puts me out like that, but I know it's needed. And see, that's the thing that he's different from a lot of people is it's genuine. It's not just a I'm putting you out there on a limb by yourself for X, Y, and Z. But I was just like, you know what, Jesus, you okay. So I finally learned how to yield. So thankfully and
Wow.
prayerfully I continue to do that. Cause D can tell you, man, this whole last 4 years, man, it's been hard. Especially hard. She knows because D and me go like way back. And she knows it's been hard for me to yield medical wise because it's just like, why? Like I feel like I'm elevating spiritual, but I feel like still in physical, it's kind of still at a halt. And so the one thing D had said to me that stuck with me during this season, she just like let go and let God. She said, "You always say that." She said, "But now it's time for you to apply that." And she's always that homegirl that tell you and bring you back in and be like, "Okay, this is what we're going to do. I understand what you talk about, but this is what we're going to do." And I always appreciated, God putting her in my life and for her to be blunt and honest with me, but do it out of love. Because sometimes too, I tell people it be tone. It's not what you say, but it's how you say it. And sometimes, don't get me wrong, we have said a couple of words to each other, but it was out of love. You hear me? Like once we got back, see, that's why I tell people some people don't know how to have friends. Cause my friends, we break each other off 24/7 all the time. Like we've gotten to the point to where we don't even argue about the stuff we used to argue about. Cause it's just like, you know what, you're right. I don't like you right now, but you know what, you're right. So I say that to say, and that gets into our next thing. Like, do you think you attract people who are similar to you? I do think now I am starting to attract more people that are similar to me. And it's only because I started to be intentional about who I let through my house, who I let through my door, who I
Mm.
let even cross that line to get to know me on that spectrum, whether that's relationship wise or whether that's friendship wise. Because people gotta understand sometimes it be your friendships that be toxic, not just your relationship. Sometimes your relationship could be fine, but due to you having toxic friends, it creates toxicity from your end in your relationship because you have toxic people that could care less whether or not you in something that's healthy and that's good for you.
Mm.
So I say that to say I had to be more strategic and more intentional on who I let in my corner, who I let in my space, and how much access I was going to give them. And don't do it in a way to where they kind of can sense or know. I did it in a way to where this how you move, this how I'm gonna move. And that's how I feel about it. If you want to move to the left, then guess what? I'm moving to the left, but I'm moving with caution. So I'll also say too, make sure that you move with caution when it comes to people as well, because at the end of the day, you have to make sure that you're always lined up with what you're asking for. Because a lot of times too, we ask for things that we can't give. So I had to also get out of that too. Not saying that I felt like I was ever there, but maybe in certain areas I was. I could just be honest person to say that. So I had to make sure what I needed and what I was asking of my friends or my friend group. I had to make sure that it was something that I could give them, or something that I could handle. That goes back to knowing your triggers, knowing what you kind of like. And sometimes, I had to get out of this space too where sometimes people are not going to even be what you are. Sometimes they're going to be better. And are you okay with if God sends you somebody that's for you, but is better in this area than you? Because then, Mia, I can tell you, my feelings was hurt. When I had that revelation, I was like, dang, I never thought if somebody was good in the area or better in the area than me, how exactly that would go.
Mhm.
Like, I was really sitting there looking like, oh, Jesus, like, I don't want to hear that. But I had to come to a realization as if you would be a hypocrite, you would be considered a perfect person if that's going to be your attitude towards it. So I had to make sure that the type of people that I attract are the type of people that I know I would want them to see me as something, in most aspects, not all because everybody's different. And also, too, I had to learn how to stop attracting stupid people. Like, just because stupid people come, that don't mean you entertain them. So I also had to learn how to stop entertaining stupid people because I would be wondering why I'm stressed. Like, I'm a people's person, so that's the gift that God gave me. So dealing with people my whole life has always been something that I've always been good at, but I've had my spaces and seasons where I just felt like this was too much. So then I came to a realization just like, you can't entertain every stupid person. And for me, the struggle was it was in my personal life. It wasn't necessarily with my friendships or anything else, but with my personal life. Like, why am I always attracting people that have problems? Just because my grandmother and my mama and all of them did it, why am I doing it? Like, you get first full hand what it can lead to. So why are you doing it? So with all the generational curses that I had, that I'm still trying to break, and I had to break, I had to also think, don't entertain those type of people. Like, I feel like now I can say I do attract similar people to me, but back then, heck no. I mean, I was sliding, gliding all in different types of pots. But I will say you have to really be who you want to really attract on the levels that are your points where it's a necessity and not a necessity. So yeah, yeah. You want
Um,
that?
I'm trying to think. I feel like I used to feel like all I attracted was hurt people because I have a healing spirit.
Mm,
Mm.
Was if I heal everybody, I'm not gonna have nothing left.
mm,
And then another thing I also noticed, I want to attract the same type of people that, same type of person that I am, but I also want to be surrounded with women and men that are higher than me so that I can
mm.
learn from them. And then it was more of a intimidation thing for me at first, like, okay, well, she walks better than me. Okay, she does this better than me. Why would I want to be around her? She seems stuck up, and then it took
Yeah.
me going back and sitting and thinking, okay, she's in a high
Mhm.
position, and you're trying to get there, but you're so immature and jealous that you just won't be open minded enough to, you
Come
know,
on, man.
to accept the person that's right in front of you. So, do I accept people like me? No, I don't. I don't. I mean, I accept attract. Do I attract people like me? Yes and no. Just for those reasons, I attract some.
Mhm.
You know that it's bigger than me or that has the same
Yeah.
goals as me. But I also attract people that you know they're trying to become that get on my level. If that makes sense, I don't think I'm making sense.
Yeah.
No, it makes
No,
it
you're
makes
making
Yeah,
complete
total
sense.
sense.
yeah,
Because that's why I was just talking about like being okay with those people that are better in areas than me.
yeah.
And also too being okay, like you said, sitting in a room with these people. Because it can be intimidating. And that
Mhm.
goes back to what Mia and me was saying, when you don't know yourself, when you don't
Yeah.
know what you bring to the table. Do you even know what you bring to the table? Like most
Mhm.
of us don't know. And so sometimes too the intimidation comes with pushing you to activate what you have to bring to the table. So
Yes.
2D, I had to start thinking about it like that too. Like, is this somebody who's gonna push me to activate what I have in me? Because I know when I was doing the Dream Girls play, that whole 5 month process was a lot. And it was only a lot because I didn't know literally all that I had to offer to the table. I thought I did, but when you're in a room with other talented people that can sing as well, and in the spot that you're in, when you're paired up with somebody who can sing as good as you, can't do the same thing that you do, but as good as you, Like it makes you self-reflect and it makes you want to take a step back. But I was like, no, you know what? I'm gonna walk in this whole thing in its entirety. I'm not gonna sit there and take a step back and unshine my light because I feel like it may bother you. If it bothers you, I hope you walk with me. You
Mm.
know? So like you said, I really had to be okay with that. So that's why I said, it can be a yes or no, but I feel like for now, yes.
Yeah.
Hopefully it stays,
Yeah.
but yeah, right now, yes. Was it always no?
Yes, I agree. I think that in the season that I'm in right now, that I attract people that are similar to the old me, the girl that was lost, confused, didn't know too much about herself. Um, and that's why God pulls those people to me so that I can help bring them out of where they are and to help them grow and to elevate in their lives. But also, I do attract people that know more than me. And
Hmm.
I have always been completely okay with that. Me personally, I've always been looking for people to help pull me up, to help bring me up. I can't stay in one place for too long. I always feel a tug to go higher, that there's more. I know that there is always more for me to do. And I know that I can't do it by myself. And I need someone that will help me get there. So I've always been open to people that have more experience than me, more wisdom than me, more knowledge than me to help pull me up to the next level that God is calling me to. But also being humble enough to accept people that may not be on that level or on the same level as me, because it's all it's just it's a continuous thing. Each time, like, everybody's elevating, if somebody has to pull somebody up. That's how I look at it. We're all trying to get to the same place. We all have to help each other get there. So someone who's down here needs help getting up here, and the person who's right here needs help getting up there. And it's just a continuous cycle. You just keep going higher and higher and higher. That's all I got.
Ooh, that was good. Y'all is really. This has been a great, great, great time. When I'm telling y'all, like some stuff, like it makes you just kind of like these questions really like before we get into the last one really had me to self-reflect. I don't know if it was like that for y'all, but I truly had to self-reflect because I'm just like I don't want to seem to always just have it right. Like I've never been that type of person, but I feel like now like I'm making it my business to not be that person that always has to have it together. Sometimes I'm gonna have to be a little messed up to get to where I need to be. And I'm gonna have to know that I'm not alone in that space. Because for the longest, you be thinking, I'm just by myself in this space. But no. You always have you always have God and you always have those praying people around you that never stop. Because at the end of the day, my mom never stopped praying for me. I may have felt like she did, but I know sometimes those little strength bursts and all of that, I know it came from him, but I know it was on a day where I didn't feel like it or I couldn't, collect everything into words. So, most definitely. Yeah. All right. So y'all, we unfortunately are on our last topic. Made me cry, because I love y'all. Oh man. All right. It says, y'all. Oh, this question. Do you think sex is something we as a generation need to hold out on when it comes to getting to know people or in relationships? Oh, boy.
You go first, Neo.
Yes, yes, and yes. Um, if you didn't know, sex before marriage is a sin.
Mhm.
Um,
It is.
that's just we'll leave that right there. Um, wow. I gotta get myself. Woo!
Okay, so what I can say is, I'm not gonna be long. Don't worry. Sex is a sin, and there is a reason why
Come on,
God
man.
not to have sex before marriage. It
Mm-hmm.
opens up a whole new dimension of problems. I was just, I can say this. Some people can say, you know me sexually, but you don't know me mentally. You don't
Oh,
know me emotionally. Like, you haven't even had the chance to really get to know me
oh,
outside of my body. So all you will know me from is my body. And that's what a lot of relationships are just based off of. Females can't have conversations with their boyfriends because the only time they're not fighting is when they're
Wow.
engaging in sex.
that's
So
true.
I on you, Mia.
That was good. And
Yes.
it goes back to soul ties. This is
Mm-hmm.
it's real. It's a real thing. And like Kaitie was saying earlier, you start developing habits and certain characteristics that you've never had before. All of a sudden, you have an attitude about something you never had an attitude about. All of a sudden, you're mad and you're yelling at somebody that you've never yelled at before. And it's
Mm-hmm.
because whatever the person you're having sex with is dealing with, it starts to transfer over to you. The
Mm-hmm.
same spirits and demons and things that they are carrying start to transfer to you, and they try to infiltrate your life.
Yep.
And that's why it is so important that it's designed, God designed it in a
Oh,
way
yeah.
that it's for married people to have sex. If you are not married, you should not be having sex at all. There are so many consequences that come with that.
So
And
many.
there's so many to
Ooh,
name, but I do want to encourage the person that has already um had sex before they were married. It's okay to start over. It's
yes.
okay. God is gracious. He is so gracious enough and so merciful
Mm.
enough. He has forgiven you for what you have done, and it's okay. It is okay. You can start over and you can move on and you can try again.
Mm-hmm.
So just be encouraged. Be encouraged.
Encouraged.
That's all I have right now. For right now.
I would say for me, ooh, it's so much to unpack for me because I've always been that friend that I don't have those sexual experiences because for one, I've always stated I was gonna wait till I be married. D can be my witness because D has known me for a long, long, long time. When we're talking about it, it's just like, okay, I laugh, I smile, whatever, but at a point in time, I feel like when we first became friends, like we all were on the same page. So that's the first thing too. Make sure that you have friends that even if they're doing the right thing, they still could tell you to keep going with what you're doing because sometimes that's motivational to them. Like, and I feel like points and periods of time with my different types of girlfriends, like they've told me, Caitlin, you make it to seem like it's not impossible. And I will also say too that if sex was not introduced to you in the right way, I know for a fact that for me, sex was just not introduced to me the right way. And I just got good enough to actually say that to where I don't cry, I don't feel any type of way. And you know why? Because I literally had to give it back to God because I was just like, you know what? I have these moments, I have these feelings, like it gets hard because I feel like I'm lonely in this thing. Like I feel like I have been like very, very, very much desensitized from having sex with anybody. So it
Mm.
used to be I wait until marriage, but if it's the right guy, like this is the stupid stuff I used to say. And I'm just letting y'all know because I'm not perfect. But I used to say, I wait until I get married, but if this guy, if it just happened, it just happened. I feel like that was the worst thing I could ever possibly say. So then I stopped saying it. I stopped saying it once I got older, thankfully. But I will say that to say, even these times where me and these guys were about to interact, something in me will always tell me to get up. I kid you not. Like I would be trying to sit up there and be into it. This is why I say to when you're built to be different, like certain things, you will be convicted before you even do it. So some people, some guys, I be like, Kayla, what is you doing? Like he's not even. I don't even understand what is going on. So I say that to say, if you're feeling convicted before you even lay down with this person, that's how I think you don't need to be doing it. You don't need to be doing it anyway, especially if you're a Christian, because some people are not. But I will say this: if you're already being convicted before you lay down with that person, that is your spirit of discernment. It's literally telling you to get up and walk away because literally you're about to connect yourself to something that you don't need to be connected to. So I say that to say too, it's okay to be different. You're sticking out for a reason. Like if you're not out here having sex with people, it's other ways to have fun besides that. I will say that and I will stand on that. Due to the fact that I am a living proof and a living witness of you don't have to sleep with any everybody. Not saying and not knocking those people that can do it because some people even have it where they only do it with their boyfriends. So I say that to say that also to get with somebody who is on the same page as you when it comes to that. If that's a goal that you have, and I'm telling you right now, even if they agree to that junk, it's going to become a problem later if they've already been exposed to how they like sex, how they are when it comes to sex. I'm telling you right now, it never works. I have done that multiple times and I finally got the concept after multiple times. That person will say they're okay with waiting to get married until they actually have to feel that. On those days where y'all are lovey dovey all over each other, y'all are kissing, all that other good stuff. Like, let's just be real quick. All that stuff is cute and nice until it's time, until all that stuff has been aroused. This is why people say foreplay and stuff. We be doing it, but that's why they get aroused. This is exactly too why I say that to say we have to make sure that when this person is agreeing to that, because some guys they can even tell you they're on the wall. It's not every guy is not out here doing whatever. So I say that to say, make sure that you're with a person that actually is staying committed to it. If it's a problem one time, walk away because it's going to become a problem again. It's going to become a conversation again, and you can't work through with a person who has no type of self control. I will
Mm.
say that again. You cannot work with a person who has no type of self control, who does not have no type of self awareness to know what triggers them. If you know you can't be alone in a room with me, then we're not gonna do it. I'm sorry. But because some people be like, well, that's weird. That's your boyfriend. Yeah. If you can't, if certain things trigger you or get you aroused, that is some stuff you do not need to be doing with that person. And that's
Yes.
only because temptation is able to come through the door. Like I don't know for y'all, but my mom always had this rule: no doors shut in her house when you have
Uh-huh.
guys in your room. So that's always a rule because my mom was just like, I don't condone shacking up, period. She was like, even if I still did whatever behind my mom, but my mom just like, I still knew not to do it in her house. And I'm not going to sit up here and be and help you, to do whatever. So that's always been a rule for my mama. So I say that to say, make sure that the person, even that you're in a relationship with, understands and is actually walking out with what you agreed on. Like I said, like I cannot stress that enough. I cannot stress that enough. Withhold sex so that person can actually get to know you mentally because I feel like, and then too, that's another thing. I've always been the type of person, I don't want you touching me on that level if you don't even know me mentally on that level. Like, it's just something about I have to have that mental connection with that person. I just always perceive myself as such because I'm an emotional person. So I don't think any guy either has ever gotten to me that close except one. The 8 guys that I have dated total, I think only one mentally understood me to the fact that we communicated. And that's only because I know him 10 plus years. So maybe that has a lot to do with why. So I say that to say he was the only guy, I kid you not, that could handle himself. It was the only guy that encouraged me, that respected me on this journey to not, for us not to do anything. Um, and sex is sex, period. People let us say oral sex, and all that stuff. It ties into sex. It's the same thing. It's the same thing. Like that have to be said too. If you're performing any sexual acts on that person, that is still sex. Point blank. Period. It just have to be said. But I say that to say, you, even if you get in your weakest moments, pray about it. Cause it's not gonna be easy. If you really like this person, like let's be for real. If you really like this person, God did make us human. Of course, you're gonna want to do certain things with this person, but it makes your relationship 10 times stronger if that person and you are on the same page as we're going to wait. We're going to honor God in our relationship because that's what's keeping him in the center. That will be one of your best relationships is when you keep God in the center because he will sustain you. He will help y'all through those moments. But like I said, you have to be open and honest if you already have unleashed your sexuality when it comes to sex, period, to be honest with God and say, God, I need help in this area. This
Mhm.
stuff that get me aroused. These are guys that have me feel some type of way. I'm not that strong yet. And when you can sit up there and give your sexuality back to God, that is the best thing you could ever do for yourself. So even if you had, like Mia was saying, have had sex with people, give it back to God. He didn't say you was going to be perfect, but try. Try. That's all I can say. I wish somebody would have told our generation is to try to do it. They just said don't do it. But we have given you several reasons as to why it's better to wait, but at least try it. Don't just sit up there and just give in to just anything. And like I said, if your spirit is telling you to get up, please get up. I guess you just don't like me because at the end of the day, your soul is better uncontaminated than it is contaminated. That's 20 different things of other people's junk you have to work on, you have to deal with once you sleep with them. So I say that to say, I have had moments where, like I said, I've had to get up because it's just like, well, Caitlin, what are you doing? And like I said too, due to the fact sex wasn't introduced to me to the right way, it was one of those things where I was desensitized to it. So if it's not my husband, I'm just felt like I was not going to do it. And that's sad to say because for some people who were touched or raped, molested, whatever have you, they're the opposite. It makes them want to do it over and over again. But for me, like I literally was completely desensitized about it. And guess what? It wasn't just with sex, but it was just with physical touch. I didn't want my partner to hold my hand. I didn't want him to roll me, none of that. Like, so I say that to say, like I said, I said this season I was gonna be more vulnerable, more open. You see, in every season, I have really refrained from talking about sex. Why? Because of that. Because I'm literally at the point to where I'm finally addressing it, so now I can actually talk about it. So that goes for whoever that is. Talk about it. Be vulnerable with God, because he's not gonna judge you. But he do need you to bring it back to him so that you and him can continue to walk on the journey so he can make you better at it. So the things that may used to get you whatever type of way, you're stronger now because you're keeping him in the fence. So I say that to say that it's really just when it comes to sex with our generation, especially in relationships, like I feel like even females, we give it too early. Refrain from it for a couple of months. Like, at least if that's what you're going to do. Like I said, I could say don't do this, that, but we know some people are not stronger than others. So I say that if he can't wait 6 months, he don't even need to be looking your way. That's how I feel. Because at the end of the day, you need that time to learn a person mentally. You need that time to learn who that person truly is. So I say that to say too, it's a bunch of diseases out here. It is pregnancies out here. I cannot express this to you. How many homegirls I have that have had babies with people that's are men D classmates. They would tell they want to strangle the mess out of them almost every day because they didn't know certain people were certain ways until they had a child with them. A child is longer than 18 years. I don't know why people be saying that. It's longer than 18 years. When that child gets married, when that child has their children, when that child gets sick with something that they need both of their parents, anything, grocery shopping. I mean, the smallest of stuff. So you're going to be connected to that person the rest of your life when you have kids with them. So also take that in mind when you say, is this a person like my sister always said? Her children have birth control. That's what she loved to joke with us. And she just like, is this the type of person you want to have kids with? Because half of the time, if we ask ourselves those questions, we wouldn't sleep with half of the people that we done slept with. So I say that to say, make sure you're more intentional about the way you're moving when it comes with sex, with not just with yourself, but also in relationships. And see how long can you truly withstand from it. So you can actually know where you're at. Because I know a lot of times too, a lot of people jump in our relationships because, like I said, it's a relationship thing. I only have sex with my boyfriend or my girlfriend. But how long do you really spend in that singleness to really vigor yourself out? So
Yeah.
yeah.
You have to be equally yoked with whoever you are in a relationship with, which is also why it's so important that before you get into a relationship with anyone, that you are seeking God to make sure that this is the right person that you're supposed to
Mm-hmm.
be in a relationship with. I definitely believe that there are kingdom spouses. Each person is called to someone.
Mm-hmm.
And then there are some people that are just meant to be single for the rest of their lives, but they know in their heart, they have already had a conversation with God and know that they are to live that life. And they will be abstaining from sex from for the rest of their lives. They will not have
Yep.
to worry about that. But back to the whole kingdom spouse thing, even when God has put you in connection with your kingdom spouse and you are together, you guys are courting. That's a whole nother conversation. There's dating and there's courting.
Mm-hmm.
Courtship is dating to marry with the intention of getting married.
Mm-hmm.
So if God has put you in that place where you are dating to marry someone and you know that this person is for you, of course it's going to be so hard, especially if this is someone that you are attracted to. It's going to be
Yes.
so hard to try to abstain from sex and sexual things. But again, just back to what Kaitie was saying, you have to know your limits. And you must set boundaries. It is so important that you set boundaries in any relationship, but definitely when you are with a significant other, that you are setting boundaries. That if that's even just touching your leg, if that triggers you, you have to communicate. That's another thing. You have to communicate with that person to let them know the things that turn you on and the things that even turn you off. If they touch your leg and that's too much for you, you need to let them know. If they kiss you on your neck, that's too much for you, let them know. If they're just kissing you in general, if that's too much, if there is anything that you know will lead to sex, you cannot do it. And you have to communicate that with whoever you're with. And just back to being equally yoked, if they don't agree with that, that person, I'm just being honest, is not for you. Or maybe just the timing again, this is not for them right now. And you have to be
Yep.
okay with that and you have to accept that. But do not settle. Stand your
Mhm.
ground, stand on what you believe, and don't let anyone coerce you into having sex. Don't let anyone try to manipulate you into having sex.
Yeah.
If you know, if you already have a mindset and you're going into something that you're waiting until you are married to have sex, stay there. Don't let anyone try to tell you, "Oh no,
Mhm.
it's okay. We can still do it." And just ask for forgiveness when we're done. It's okay. You can still live and go on with your life.
Mhm.
It's not that simple. There's so
Mhm.
much that goes into it, and we could literally talk about this for a very long time. But I just say you have to be very careful. You have to be very
Very
girded up
careful.
and strong in your spirit and in your faith if you're going to walk this walk God's way. because that's what we're supposed
Yeah.
to be doing. We're supposed to be living our lives God's way, and that is abstaining from sex until marriage. That just is what it is. That's the truth. That's what the Bible has taught us, and we must follow that. So be safe.
Be
Um,
encouraged.
be encouraged on this walk, because it's not
It's not
easy
easy at
at
all.
all. But we have already told you the different things that come with having sex before marriage. And
Mhm.
if you don't want to go through that, which I hope you don't,
Yes.
then do it God's way. That's it. Do it God's way.
I just a recap of what you both said. That's exactly how I feel about it. Every action has a consequence, whether it's positive or negative. If you're going to do it, know that it's a consequence behind it. There's a reason why in the vows they say for better or for worse. That's when
Hmm.
you're married. When you're
Yeah.
married, dealing with that, not when your boyfriend and girlfriend. You know no. And then if you're not having sex, don't peer pressure the next person into doing it just because you did it.
Right.
Because it's a lot of uh that's how a lot of relationships go. Social media ties into this too. You think
Yes.
you're supposed to be taking pictures in the mirror. You got little kids taking pictures in the mirror, tooting up, doing this, doing that, and then oh,
Yes.
they're doing this, they're doing that. Okay, so that's becoming the new normal. That is not the normal. Because when God comes
Exactly.
back, come on.
Come
So
on now.
Yeah.
that's social media plays a big part in that.
Yes.
Trying to make that the normal, and that's not the normal. So I would just say, just like Mia said, stand your ground. If you say no, this is what it's going to be. I'm going to wait. I don't want to do this. I want to do that. Listen to your spirit. Listen, when you hear
Oh,
something, you hear that no, that's the Holy Spirit. He's telling you no. He's saying, don't do it. And then when you do it, and you're like, dang, I shouldn't have did that. It wasn't worth it. Oh, yeah. If you have a
yeah.
second mind, if you got to think twice about something, you shouldn't do it in the first place. That's what I've
Hmm.
always been taught. If you got to think twice, yeah, go off your first initial thought. So no, say no to sex. But if
Yeah.
you do it,
Hmm.
please, no, it's not the end of the world. But God knows all. He sees all. You need to
Grace.
repent, and you need to not fall into the same patterns. That's like
Yes.
putting a hole in the wall and taking a hole out. I mean, taking the nail out the wall. The hole is still in the wall.
Yeah.
You just ask for forgiveness. That's it.
Yeah.
And then okay, I'm closing with this. Some years ago, this pastor came to our church, and he was mainly talking to the ladies, and he was saying, knowing your self worth. This plays a big part into sex as well. Knowing your self
Hmm.
worth. We're like a flavored sunflower seed. Every time somebody has sex with us, they take a little bit of flavor off the sunflower seed. So by the time you
Hmm.
get to your husband, you have no flavor left on your sunflower seed. You are
Come on
flavorless.
now.
That's how I want ladies to look at themselves. As I know that's
Hmm.
silly, maybe childish, but you have to look at yourself as being
Yeah.
that small, being that valuable of sunflower seeds. Although you get a bag full of sunflower seeds, you're that one sunflower seed with all the seeds on it.
Come on
Mm.
now.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
That's my take on that.
That's
And I
good.
also too like to just add before we close, His grace is sufficient for you. Grace and mercy, that's why He has it for us because He already knew. Literally, like I know that's a cliche, but He knows. But it's not. It's up to us to learn how to be back vulnerable with God. Be honest with Him. Why are you sitting there lying to a person that knows it anyway? But when He brings it to you, God is able to allow you to download, to program into you what He needs you to do, what solutions He may keep provide 20 plus solutions for you, and you up here being prideful or think God don't want nobody filthy like you. Because even too, I went to this young adult summit. It was about a couple years ago, right before COVID, And it was so many young adults in the room that had their hand up because they feel like they can't talk to God about their sexuality because they just feel filthy because they have done so much. And if that is you, I want to tell you that His grace and His mercy is sufficient for you. You can always wake up one day and say, you know what, I'm gonna give that back to God. Even though I felt yesterday, that's only what Ty Tribbett said, only one night though. Let it be only one night though. And you keep doing it because eventually you're gonna get the hang of doing it. And when I'm telling you, I have heard some success stories on how they used to be out there and they don't deny it. Like, I used to sleep with everybody that I used to really meet. And some people that I know now personally, they're on the 6 months. And so that goes to show you, some of them are on years now. So that goes to show you, you have to be intentional on how much you let God truly program into you and truly use you, even when your friends are doing it.
Yes.
Because it can also get hard when you're the only one that's be like, you know what, I'm abstaining from it. Especially when you have friends that's not encouraging you on your journey. And two, you just don't never know. You could be an example for your friends or your friend group on how it's possible, and you may be encouraging them. So that's why it's sometimes important too for us to stay our plight, stay your plight. What they may be doing, maybe they need to do whatever to get it right. But your example that's not impossible, which I know for a fact in different aspects, even being a friend, that's encouraging to see when your friend is doing something that you have the goal to do or that you want to do. Um, so yeah, just make sure that you be safe. Please, please, please be safe out here in these streets because it's getting more dangerous. Get more
Yeah.
dangerous on both sides of the field. And also, another thing that I always say when we talk about sex on this podcast, no means no.
Mm-hmm.
I do not understand why this has to be said to people at our big old age. But no means no. If a person say no, it means no. Trust me, is somebody out there that will be willing to sleep with you. I know that sounds so rude to say, but I'm so wholeheartedly so serious about that. No means no. Consent is most definitely important, and no means no.
Yes. There are
We still
people
have to
out
say it.
there. There are people out there that will wait, that are waiting, and it's okay
Mm-hmm.
to be that person. I really
Mm-hmm.
just want to emphasize that even more. It's okay
Mm-hmm.
to be that person that hasn't done anything.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and it's okay to be the person that already has. Like she
Mm-hmm.
said, His grace is sufficient. Again, it's okay to start over. What Dee said, repent. Repent is changing, not going back to what you were doing.
Mm-hmm.
Truly, true repentance
Right.
is not going back to what you were doing. It's not just crying out to God, God, I'm sorry. God, I'm sorry I had sex. I'm not going to do it again. And then turn around and do it again. But
Right.
being
And
intentional,
intentionally do it. Yeah,
Yes.
exactly.
being intentional about not doing it again. That is what is very key in all of it. It's so much, even spiritually. It's just such a wide range. A
Mm-hmm.
conversation that can be had just around sex in general. Um,
Yeah,
but it is not needed to be successful in a relationship. Let's just
that
put
too.
that out there. Especially when you're not married. You do not
Yeah,
need
because you
sex.
have plenty of success stories with married people that have sustained. It is people out here that have literally waited to, and they're married 30 plus years later. I know a couple at my church, they've been married for 45 years, and they waited literally a whole year to have sex. So that goes to show you it is very much
Yep.
possible,
Yes it is.
especially if you and that person is on the right level. And like I said, keeping God in the center. I think
Yes.
especially us Christian women have to understand the importance of that part. I've made it, like I've made it my business to literally say in my adult age, if we're not keeping God in the center, you cannot be with me. We need to be praying, we need to be fasting, all that good stuff. Because at the end of the day, we gonna need him to sustain along this journey, not just even about sex, but for other stuff, finances, all that good stuff that us adults have to deal with. That part. So yeah.
Yes.
So yes, His grace and His mercy is very much sufficient for you. He loves you in spite of He loves you. You do not need to sleep with somebody to get love because God gives it for free.
And that's what Dee was saying. It goes into a whole self-worth thing. It's
I'm trying
we
to
could go on
say.
and on. Look, we'll be back. We'll be back.
We need a part two.
Look, that's a whole. I think that's gonna have to be a whole episode, like literally, because I really wish y'all that somebody would have pressed this junk to us when we were in church growing up, instead of just telling us why not. Here's a living prime example of why you should not. It's even biblical stories that line up with why not. And I think this new generation is just like you said, the social media. We out here acting a fool. So why do we just expect them to line up with what we really should have been doing? Because honestly, our chests were held out and we have a lot more foundation than they did for us not to be stronger. And I know that sounds like, like I'm being, petty or anything, but seriously though, most of my parents are ministers. Most of my parents have had us in church literally since we've been in the womb. It makes no sense that we are not, I guess I can say in the best tone I can say in, we are not stronger in certain things. And the fact that we don't think we are, because sometimes it's a mental thing. Why do we not think we can't do it? Like what is going on? So you just that's just most definitely something that your sexuality is just something you have to give back to God. If you have not, I very much encourage you to do so, because I'm telling you, the journey, it will be hard, but it gets easier. Especially for us those that's sustaining. Yeah. But yeah, I love y'all girlies. You know, we love y'all young ladies too that's out there listening. We love y'all. We are praying for y'all. Take everything that we said, and please, please, please try to apply it somewhere in your life. I'm telling you, whether that means you gotta call Shanae today and tell her, listen here, we can't be friends no more. It is
Yes.
okay. I'm telling you, I don't care if you 13, 14. They may think you too young to understand what you're talking about. I'm telling you, you're not too young to know what you're talking about. If anything, I'm suggesting you start early. Start early and do what you gotta
Yes.
do now. Take it very seriously before you get into high school good. Um, Take it very, very seriously because it's most definitely needed. So yeah, anybody else want to say anything before we close out? Because so much has been said. So much, so much, so much has been said.
Um,
Anything want to be added?
I can
It could
just
be
say
anything.
keep God first. If you don't know about it, pray about it. Be intentional. Be intentional with your prayers. Be intentional with your actions. Um, if you got questions, you need to reach out. Kaitie, her DMs are always open, and mine are down here somewhere. So yes, be open minded. Find that
Telling
one
you.
adult that you can confide in and that's going to lead you into the right direction. It's okay to not know. It's okay to be alone. When you're alone, being alone, when you're alone in your most uh, vulnerable moments, that's when God really shows Himself. So it's okay. It's okay, D. It's okay to be alone. Yes,
Come
It's
on,
okay to be
encourage yourself.
curious.
it's okay to be
It's okay
curious.
to be curious, but be
Yeah.
honest about your curiosity, because
Yes.
I'm telling you, we can all tell you from experience. When you're curious about something, please talk to somebody wise.
Mm-hmm.
Please, please, please. Like she said, reach out to any of us. Shoot, reach out to any co-host for this season, but especially us. We're gonna make sure that we're gonna be open and honest, but we're also gonna love you through that thing. I know a
Yeah.
lot of people don't love people through their hurt, their trauma, their struggles, but trust me, baby, I know for personally that these two right here will love you through it. They will
Yeah.
love you through it, but also give you the tools and be honest with you.
Mm-hmm.
We put ourselves, I put my business out there, I feel like a lot. Only because I want you to know that it ain't always been peaches and cream, babe. It ain't always been easy. And shoot, sometimes it still get ugly. Sometimes the chocolate still end up mixing with the vanilla, even though I didn't go nowhere near the chocolate side. So I say that to say, we here for you. We got you. We got your back, and know that you can do it. You
Yeah.
can do anything that you put your mind to.
Yeah.
God loves you, and we love you. We
Yep. I was
straight.
gonna say there's nothing that can separate you from the love of
Love of
God. There's
That part.
absolutely nothing. Um, so if you're in this walk right now and you feel defeated, you feel like there's nothing else you can do, you want to give up, I encourage you to not give up, to go back to God and to just ask Him, let Him know you need help. Let Him know you need, cry out to Him. Literally, He hears you. I promise you that He hears you and He is already moving on your behalf. He's just waiting for you to come to Him with what you need. He already knows what you need, but He needs to hear it from you. So just be encouraged, stay strong, stand strong in your faith, and don't give up. All things are working together for your good. In Jesus' name.
Amen.
Amen. All right. So, ladies, that's a wrap for episode 1 of the script series. Man, literally, we literally talked about it all. This was actually, honestly, a great convo. Stay tuned for next week's episode, you guys. Episode 2 of this season. I'm telling you, it's gonna get better and better. I feel like we already put the fire to the metal starting off this season, but I feel like more and more it's gonna get better and better. Like I'm telling you, you do not want to miss any of these episodes. Tell your friends, tell your homegirls, tell your mammies, aunties, uncles, dogs, cats, giraffes, whatever exotic animals you have. Let them know that Hey Girl Hey season 12 is alive in action.
That's right.
So most definitely, I hope you all enjoyed this episode. And I love y'all. Say bye, y'all. I love y'all. Mwah. Bye.
Bye.